problem now, of course, is to simply hold your horses. To rush would be a crime, 'cause nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it every time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spotlight Stories, where we shine the light on real people, real journeys, and the powerful transformations happening and purposeful living. I'm your host, Maristel, and I'm so excited to have you here today. This afternoon, what date is today? It's Thursday, May 8th. We have a very, very special guest who, of course, have taken the leap sometime a few years back, and he is from Canada and already has retired from his nursing career and doing full time now on digital business. Please help me welcome on stage Coach Dustin. Hello, Dustin.
Yay.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited to have you here. Like what I said earlier in the backstage, that I didn't expect really that you will say yes right away
Right.
to my request.
Of
Just like,
course.
hey Dustin, can I please have you for an interview here on my page? And you said yes.
Of course. Right. That's what I'm here for, right? To help anybody, kind of get on their page, inspire others. I think everyone's been in the exact same situation, right? About looking for something different. And it's always kind of trying to just take that leap of faith, right? To kind of just put yourself out there. And that's what you did, right? You just put yourself out there, and here we are.
Yes. And before we go further, could you please tell us a little bit of your background?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Dustin. I reside in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I was a nurse for 16 years previous to doing this business. So kind of six years ago, I was looking for something different. I think most of us are always looking for something different, a way out, or not even a way out of our situation, just maybe a little extra financial help, right? I think some of us, especially now, are looking for a little extra income. So for me, I was looking for just an extra $200, $300, a month, just to something to help me get by while I was in school. And so that's why I began. But I think like most of us, you're only expecting an extra $200, $300 a month, and you supersede or surpass what you're kind of expecting or hoping for or looking for, right? So, I mean, like we had to talk about, it's kind of actually allowed me to step away fully from my full-time nursing job and focus
Yeah.
on my business full-time now. So it's been an incredible journey.
Wow. So what made you say yes to digital business, or have you ever ventured into other kind of businesses like traditional business?
No, never. I mean, I think, for me, I came across a Facebook ad, just like majority of us, right? And I just saw an ad from these two Canadian men in Vancouver, BC, that were advertising the business, and it intrigued me. I was like, okay, what is this all about? What are they doing? How are they able to, travel? How are they able to, spend time with, the people that they enjoy spending time with, and just together and make an income? And so it really intrigued me. And so when I saw that ad, I just kind of took the leap and watched the webinar that we all talk about, and here we are. The rest is history, basically. So that's kind of just how it came about for me.
And you said earlier it was around 2019, correct? So of
Yeah.
course you started it and you saw everything. Oh, I mean, maybe not necessarily everything, but you
Right.
have started it. And have you already said that? Okay, this is it for me. This is the defining moment that I can say yes, this is it. I'm going to do this full time, very seriously.
I think so. It took a little while, right? I mean, I didn't have any business experience. I never done business at all, ever. Coming from a nursing background, I think a lot of us kind of look at a business and they're like, oh my God, I don't have the experience. So how am I going to do well, right? But that's the beauty of this business, is that we train people step by step. We give everything that they need to be successful in the online space. So for me, it didn't really kind of prevent me from kind of moving forward, right? The whole online realm of things. Because for me, social media was something that I never used before. Facebook
Yeah.
was foreign to me, Instagram was foreign to me, YouTube, all those like social media platforms that you see today and that we advertise on today. I was very not I wouldn't say skeptical is the right word, but I just didn't use it a lot, right? I didn't use it often. So when I seen it was like a social media online kind of business, I was like, well, how am I going to do well? Like, will I do well? Will I be successful? But like I said, right, I mean, everything is step by step. And so I think that was the turning point for me realistically was just being able to see everything in front of me visually, to know that, hey, this is great, to know that it's legit, to know that it's lucrative, to know, it's a company partnership where we get T4s at the end of every year. There was a lot of things that kind of really just added up for me, where I was like, yeah, this is it. This is something that's really going to help me move forward. Even though I wouldn't say I'm like full on introverted, but I just didn't at the time when I began my business journey, I didn't feel that I was like 100% confident in the online space and what I was going to bring to the table. Right. But yes. I think, it's a beautiful part of this business as well. Kind of looking back in 2019 when I began my journey and looking at who I am now today, I'm definitely not the same person, because of this business, just kind of how it pushes you outside your comfort zone. It kind of makes you kind of be a little bit more extroverted, or, kind of just challenge you in certain ways to kind of bring you out and bring you into your own. Because I think we all have certain things, uniqueness and stuff within ourselves. It's just how do we bring that to the table? Right. Correct. And that's kind of what this business really pulls out of you.
Yes, I totally agree when you said that it brings out the something in us, like the best in us, because most of the time we doubt ourselves, we don't know what exactly we can bring out to the table until we have this very supportive global community that helps us out. Okay, so what was the biggest challenge you faced when starting out?
When starting out with the biggest challenge, I think a biggest challenge for me, as amazing as the business is when it comes to flexibility, I really put myself in a place where I was like, oh my God, when I began my business, I was like going to school full time, right? Because I was upgrading my nursing. And then I had homework. I was working at the hospital full time. I was like with family, right? And also trying to fit time into this business, right? So I think that was my biggest challenge per se. In the whole realm of things, because it was just trying to find balance, right? Whether it was like, waking up an hour earlier to kind of focus on the business, trying to find plots of time, throughout my day to fit my business in. I wouldn't say necessarily it was like a big challenge in like a big perspective, but it's kind of like trying to find out a way to be able to balance it all. Right. Yes. And then not only that, but I think as you go along, you kind of sometimes doubt yourself in anything, even like when I went to school as a nurse, you have those things that kind of come up where you're like, can I actually do this? Will this actually happen for me? Will I be successful? Will I not be successful? All those things. So I think that is a challenge because it really makes you focus on your mindset, right? It makes you check in on yourself and it makes you kind of grow and be like, no, I can do this. I know I can do this. It may take some time because we know a business takes time to grow, right? And so I think that was a challenge for me, just kind of shifting my mindset and how long that actually took to shift my mindset. Because it just was like, yeah, this will happen eventually. And it did actually happen really quickly for me, right? The way my business grew, like I made 6 figures my very first year in the business. So it grew substantially really quickly. And that's never a bad thing per se. It's just obviously challenges along the way, especially when it comes to personal life. Some things kind of pull you away from your business, right? That might need to be more focused on or become a little bit more prominent. So challenge would be like kind of trying to come back to the business after something pulls you away that's so personal in your life, right? And then trying to refocus, right? And kind of, move through those bumps or those trials and tribulations that kind of come up when you step away from something for so long.
Yes. And you even mentioned in that presentation that you yourself quit for a little bit, right? From the business. And how did you manage to come back? Like, how did you put yourself in that momentum once again?
I wouldn't say I guess, I wouldn't say quit, right? It wasn't like something that I was like really kind of said to myself, like, or I'm going to quit the business, right? That's not what happened. Unfortunately, I lost someone really close to me. And so when I lost someone really close to me, I really had to focus on my personal life, right? And trying to rebuild that and keep that up here instead of down here, right? So it wasn't really a quit, it was a step away. And that's the
Mhm.
beautiful part of the business, right? Is that you can come back to the business whenever you choose, right? You can step away. The business is not going anywhere. It's always going to be there for you, right?
Yes.
And that's what I like about the business. But yeah, I had to step away, take care of some personal stuff, and then come back. Obviously, you're playing catch up and then trying to reorientate your mindset again, right? About being like, okay, well, I've been away from this business for 2 years. Can I actually do this business when you come back? And of course, you can do the business, right? When you come back, it's just going to be a little bit rocky and it's going to be a little bit bumpy when you try to refocus into something that you haven't been plugged into for a certain period of time, right? So
Yes.
you kind of circle back and look at nurses or look at teachers or whatever, right? You step away for quite some time, you come back, you're a little bit rusty. You have a
Yes.
little bit of time to kind of get back into that groove, but when you get back in that groove, things are fine, right?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
would kind of relate it to that.
Yes. So how has digital business changed your life so far now that you have retired fully, right, from your nursing career?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big change for me, right? I mean, that I can say, full on that I've been debt free, right? Since
Wow.
I'm 39, right? So I turned 39 last November. So it's allowed me that, right? Which has been a big life change for me and a big shift for me, right? Because, I was carrying around debt for so long and I didn't know if I'd ever be able to get ahead, right?
Mhm.
And when I was talking about carrying around a debt, it was like $75,000 worth of debt, right?
Yes, that
We
includes
all
the
carry
student
debt.
loans and stuff, right?
Yeah, so student loans, line of credits, credit cards, right? I go back and I'm like, oh, check, 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 right?
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest, I was at the bank today because, when you step away from your nursing career, they pay you out a pension. So you have to like go and try to take this lira, right? And put it into an account. And so they're like asking me, she's like, do you have this still? Do you have this still? Do you have this still? I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't carry that anymore. I don't have that anymore, right? And she's like, oh my
Yeah.
God. So like the only, right? So the only thing that I have left in my life right now is my mortgage, right? Everything else is paid. But getting again at 39, getting very close to that being the thing that's going to be paid off next, right? So we see a lot of people, being able to pay off things financially, but I don't think for me that's been the biggest thing, right? When it comes
Mhm.
to my digital business, right? Yeah, money has been great, financial has been great, but I think it's the time freedom that's been the
Correct.
biggest thing for
Yes.
myself, right? Now it's like I can get up and I can spend time with my family. I can kind of go and see my mom, or I can be around the people I care about. Whereas before, it's like I had to set an alarm clock and go to work
Yes.
and be at
Yes.
work, right? So I don't have to be worried about when I can schedule those people in my life any
Yes.
longer, right? So that's been a big change for me. And then also I think shifting myself from being someone like I talked about who is maybe a little bit fearful or thinking I was going to fail or not having confidence, right? Kind of shifting that dynamic to how I am now is completely different, right?
Yeah.
So I think those are some big things that I've kind of worked through. And those are my biggest, I guess, successes from this business.
Yes, exactly. Because it's so difficult. You're still an employee, you still have to beg for a PTO. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
now you don't have that problem anymore.
No, and it's not even just that, right? It's just kind of, I was talking to, it was one of the girls yesterday as well when it comes to the business, right? I think it's like so crazy that, sometimes you're kind of, advertising or you're talking to people about the business. And then you have those, things come up about it being too good to be true, yada, 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 those comments and
Yes,
stuff,
yes.
right? It's so for me, it's like kind of funny when you get comments like that, because to me, it's like, it's so ingrained in us as such a young childhood that we have to go to school, then we have
Correct.
to go to university or college, get a 4-year degree, 6-year degree, or whatever, go to student loan, be in debt, and then come and try to work and pay off all the debt that we accumulated just to get ahead, right? We're
Correct. Oh my
so
gosh. Yeah.
ingrained. That's how we've been taught, raised, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
what we're used to. So when we are handed something or given something that could be something completely different, we're like, whoa, what is
Hmm.
this, right? I don't understand what you're talking about here. So it's that mind shift to know that it is 2025. Things have changed since way back in the
Yes.
day, right? We're moving into the digital era. We're moving to the online space. The internet is still young and it's still growing. So it's just interesting when you get comments like that, because to me it's like, it's so ingrained in us, right?
Correct.
We have to
Exactly.
be working for somebody else. And now it's like we have the opportunity to work for ourselves. And people are like, no, what do you mean? You are your own boss. What do you mean you work for yourself? What do you mean you do your own thing, right? Because we know that it's like 2 to 5% of the population are entrepreneurs or have their own business or run on their own time. Everyone else works for somebody else, right?
Yes,
So even
exactly.
for me, sometimes it's only been a month. And sometimes I'm like, well, what am I going to do with my day? Right? It's like I don't have to check in with somebody else, but if I wanted to go to Mexico tomorrow, I can book a flight and away I go. Right? That's the
Yes.
beauty, right? And that's what I can do because of this business, and I can take my business with me.
Yes,
So,
exactly. So what would you, because I get a little curious, because we always say something about, okay, you have your own business, you start your own, be your own boss, something like that. But how are we going to um, tell the younger generation that, school is still important, things like that? Because I have a coworker and she's very young, and I kind of like I did not actually recruit her or something because we don't recruit. So I kind of like share with her that I have a business on the side, and I kind of like told her that you're still very young, you have to like open your mind and look at things around you. It's just not about work, 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 because right now kids, younger generation, all they think about is like what you said: we go to school, we finish a degree, and go to work until we retire.
and that's
So
it.
how are you going to, like, if you have somebody right behind or right in front of you,
Mm-hmm,
a
mm-hmm,
younger person?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like, how am I going to actually encourage them to do a
Yeah.
business, or how am I going
Mhm.
to actually see
Tell
where their
them that,
mindset
okay,
is?
it's good, you get a degree and stuff like that, but at the same time, get something on the side.
Well, it's always good to have a plan B, right? I mean, sometimes we always need to have something a little extra, right? There's nothing wrong with having a side gig or a side hustle to have an extra income, right? We know millionaires out there in the world don't just have one stream of income, right? They have multiple streams of income, right, to have that come in, right? I think it's just about expanding your mindset and looking at opportunities other than the opportunity that's just presented in front of you, right? But it's always good to have that plan B. Like I had this, when I began my journey as a plan B, but it's become my plan A, right? Now it's my full-time
Yes.
shop, it's my full-time gig, right? So it's just realistically just kind of expanding your mindset and just having a look, right? It's nothing wrong with having a look to see what it's all about, right? And
Yes,
kind of
yes.
just challenging that mindset that you have, that you might be so used to just the 9 to 5 grind, right? And it's
Yeah.
okay, of course. There are people who do this business, right? And we're not sitting here and saying that you have to leave your 9 to 5 job or that's all there is, right? A lot of us are still working our 9 to 5 job and having this on the side, right? But the
Yes.
beautiful thing about this business is that it becomes a legacy that you can pass down, right? You
Hmm.
can pass down to other people. You can help support your family with this business, right? So that's the beauty of this as well, right? So those young ones that are out there and they come into the business and they build that business, well, when they have kids, they can pass it down as well, right?
Yes,
So it's just
exactly.
about kind of expanding your mindset and just kind of looking to see what else is out there other than what you're kind of told to do, I guess.
Yes. So we have a lot of people who are somewhat interested in the business. So some of them have gone to watch the webinar and maybe have taken the step two, but still are thinking about it. So
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell them to maybe somehow take the leap?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, realistically, what's holding them back, right? To kind of further take the step forward, right? I mean, it's all about having that leap of faith or trust in yourself. I know there's a lot of us kind of in that dynamic of mindset where they're like, well, how do I know I'm going to be successful? How do I know I'm going to do well, right? What if I don't? I think we're also in the society of negativity, and how negativity is the easiest thing we can think of, right? We can look in the mirror and be like, find 5 negative things about ourselves, then look in the mirror and find 5 positive things about ourselves, right? It's so easy to have that mentality, right, to take us out, right? So, but what about shifting that mentality and challenging that mentality and being like, no, I can make this happen. I will make this happen, right? This is a business that can take me far, right? That's always something that I come into the business and I speak to others about, is having that mindset from the get-go of, you can do this. This will happen for you, right? I'm no different than, you're no different than me. You're no different than the next person next to you, right? The only difference that you are is that you bring uniqueness to your own business and uniqueness to your own journey that is different than mine and yours, right? So it really is just having that confidence and that trust in yourself that you can make this happen too, because everyone else out there, you can see it's a lucrative business. You can see so many people being successful. They all just took that step, right, to move forward. And, obviously that is the first step that everyone had to take, right? It's not like these people are any different than someone who started from scratch. Everyone was in the exact same boat. Everyone
Correct.
was in the exact same situation. Everyone
Yes.
had to take that first step. And that first step was moving their business forward, right?
Hmm.
Without moving that business forward, how do you know if you're going to do well or not, right? But again, it's like majority of people do very well in this business, right?
Yes.
That is just like going to school, right? I mean, we always have that unknown, right? So it's like, your first day of school, you're nervous, you're scared, but you're also a little bit excited because it's something
Mhm.
new, right? But you have to take that confidence and that trust in yourself to move forward, to learn about school, to learn about what, let's say, nursing is, to learn about all the anatomy and theory that comes with it, and then preceptorship. It's not like you become a nurse overnight, right? It takes 4 or 5 years
Correct.
to become a
Correct.
nurse,
Yes.
right? That's the same thing with the business, right? You have to take that first step, and that first step is moving forward.
Yes. So now talking about nursing, just a little bit. Did you miss being a nurse?
Do I miss
That's a
being a
personal
nurse?
question.
I
Yes.
mean, for sure. I mean, I think, you go into nursing because you're very compassionate and you're very helpful and you're always trying to help people with their life, right? For me, it's like this mindset now where I really want to help people change their life,
Yes.
in a different
Exactly.
dynamic, a different way, right? So this time around is helping people, moving away from their 9 to 5 or having a little bit more time freedom or having some financial freedom, right? And help people that way. Of course, I think, I'm always going to miss nursing, right? Because I put such a long, it was a long haul, right? 4 years, 5 years, and then working for 16, right? I put so much time
Yes.
into it, right? If I, ever went back, let's say, into nursing, right, it would be only to my liking, right? But it'd be also into something on my time. So let's say cosmetic nursing, right, where I'm giving Botox or something like that, right? That's the only thing I would ever kind of go into because then it's on my terms, right? But I don't know if I would ever go back to bedside or ever go back to working for someone else because I'm so used to this time freedom now and having the finances to do the things that I want to do, right? Again, it would just be another additional source of income if I ever went back to cosmetic nursing, right? But again,
Correct.
that is something that I can do out of my house or do somewhere else, right? Again, it's on
Yes.
my
Yes.
schedule, right? But I would never go back for working for somebody else. But that's like in the distant future, right? Um,
Yes.
but I think, yeah, I mean, I can't say I don't. I don't miss the long hours. I don't
Mhm.
miss the holidays. I mean, around Easter time, I was at my actual family's place, and my sister-in-law's brother's wife was there, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're here for Easter?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, well, you're never here for Easter." I'm like, I
Yes.
know, right? Because you're just
Wow.
never there for holidays. And it just was
Yes.
getting tiring to miss out on all those holidays. And then you're trying to be like, Christmas Day comes and you're like trying to organize everything because you're working these nights or you're not there or you gotta, right? It's just tired of missing 39 years. Or I mean, not 39 years, but 16 years of missing family dynamic around holidays, right? And it's
Yes.
important,
Exactly. Yes.
so that part I don't miss. I miss
Yes.
the part of helping people, but now
Mhm.
I get to help people in a different way.
Correct. And you know what? It's so funny because in my own personal experience, I find it funny that sometimes I made it a joke, something like, oh, this digital business makes us become lazy to go
Mhm,
back to work. You know
mhm.
what I mean? You know that feeling of like, okay, I'm having a day off. Like now I am working part time, so I have more days off. So kind of like, oh my gosh, tomorrow I have to work.
Yeah,
Because you're so used to like what you said, you're so used to working on your own terms. Like you don't have to go somewhere, you don't have to do anything like be with other people. Like it's so especially at the workplace there's politics, so
yeah.
so that's another stressor at work.
Yeah, it is true, right? I mean, you always have to deal with other people, and then you have to deal with politics, you have to deal with management and stuff when you're reporting to somebody else, right? So it's nice for me. I mean, there are days where it's like my business is like busy from start to finish, right? Like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with coaching calls and business inquiries and supporting, my other business owners or business partners. Like, you know, you can make your days as busy as you want if you wanted to, right? I mean, honestly, since I've kind of moved away from nursing, it's been like up at 6:15 and I don't put my business down until like 7 p.m. because, I want to really take my business to the extreme, right?
Yeah.
So it all just really depends on what you want, right? But that's just my choice right now, right? But I mean, I can also take my business right now and put it to the side at any time I want to if my mom calls me or if they want
Correct.
support, or if I
Yes.
want to go with my niece and nephew, or if I want to go with my brother, right? I can just take it and put it aside and then come back to it when I'm done what I'm wanting to do, right?
Yes.
So it's on my time, my terms, right? Not somebody else's terms,
Exactly, that's what we're talking about, time and financial freedom.
right?
Yes. Okay, so what is one lesson you have learned that every aspiring digital entrepreneur should know?
Lesson. Oh my goodness, that's a good one. I think the big lesson, I think myself and, probably a lot of people out there should really learn or know when it comes to a business. I really think, and I always talk about the importance of mindset, right? A lesson anywhere, right? Whether it's the digital business or whether it is nursing, whether it is your own life, right? Mindset's going to take you far, right? So, like we talked
Yeah.
about, like not long ago, about thinking you're going to fail, whatever you put out into the world, you're going to attract, right? So, it's like that whole law of attraction dynamic, right? I wish I took into the whole law of attraction thing sooner. And because it realistically, it's making me face my fears. It's making me dive into my fears, right? Because they could be reprogrammed, right? Fears can always be reprogrammed, right? As you move through that fear, it can become your strength, not your fear any longer, right? So, and so that's my number one go-to right now that I think anybody in their life could really take with them is just learning all about mindset and how to
Mhm.
be grateful and how to show gratitude for the
Yeah.
things not only you have in front of you, but I mean, what tomorrow might be like, or what the next day, what could be like, or what the future may hold for you, right? So it's just always about that gratefulness and that gratitude, right? And
Yes.
always having that mindset of, I can make it happen, I can do it, right? Instead of having that mindset of, what if, right? I'm going to
Mhm.
fail, right? What is it we talk about? I think there's three things that we should never say. It's like do, don't, can't, right? I
Mhm.
can't, I
Yes,
don't,
you have to
I
turn the
won't,
negative into
right?
positive. Yes.
Yeah, so it's just that different positive lens, right? That's shift, and that's so difficult because, like we talked about earlier, we're so inundated with negativity, right? It's so much
Mhm.
easier to have a negative lens or a negative outlook on something than it is positive, right?
Yes.
But again, everything in life is going to shift for you when you have that positive outlook or that positive lens. And I know it
Yes.
sounds silly to a lot of people. When I was first introduced to the whole mindset thing, I was like, nah, I don't think that's true. No, I'm okay. But now
Yes.
I'm a
Yes.
big advocate of it, right? Or I'm like, it's
Correct.
definitely shift my positive, like my life, like as a whole
Yes.
180 because of having that law of attraction, right? Or having that mindset, right?
Yes.
Obviously, it's not every day is like amazing. You still have that like up and down
Yes.
sometimes.
Of
It's
course.
never linear, but it's
Mhm.
definitely a lot better than what it was, right?
Yes. And the good thing about this business, the community that we have, we also have a team. Our leaders are helping us form that positive mental attitude that we
Mhm.
should have, in order to tackle the challenges and move on with our business and not necessarily just business, about life. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's when you are introduced to this business and take with this business, right? It's like a family dynamic, right? It's more
Mhm.
than just a business, right? It challenges you, it helps you grow, it takes you out of your comfort zone and really makes you propel forward, right? And it really helps shift your mindset and who you are, right? So again,
Mhm.
talk about growth, and a lot of people, we see a lot of people
Correct.
who
Yes.
have joined this business, maybe a little bit introverted, maybe a little bit shy, and totally come out of their shells because of this business, right? So it's not just a business that you're getting a big life change, you're getting a life shift, right? And that's
Yes.
also what I love about this.
Yes, correct. But before we go further, let us see who are here
Yeah.
supporting us. We have a lot of comments here. Here we go. Let us greet our viewers. Um, Nonan and Marjorie
No.
Villamore, they're from California.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this is amazing.
Aw.
Another business partner from California. She's also a nurse, Coach Gina. She's also in our team, and she also just recently became a coach. I became a coach a few months ago too.
Good to see you
So
both.
yeah, Ati Beth from Las Vegas, another one from California. So many people from California. Have you noticed that? Oh, by the way,
California's
are you
a
going to
hot
Chula Vista?
spot. What's that? Sorry.
Are you going to Chula Vista for our convention?
Yeah. Well, it's San Diego.
I mean, yeah, Chula Vista, San Diego.
Yes, I will be there.
Oh, hopefully I will
Yes.
see you there.
Yes.
And April, I think April is from Las Vegas also. And then Chicago, Amy.
Chicago.
Hello, hello. And Riza. And Riza is from Texas, she said. Okay. And Divina is from Tennessee. And this is my coach. She's the reason why I'm here on this business.
Oh,
I was at the parking lot on my way home from a night shift, and I saw her doing a go live, and I kind of like, okay, let me ask her what she's talking about. So
course,
yes,
right? That's
yeah,
when they get you.
yeah. And then Jovi, I forgot. Oh, Jovi, I forgot Jovi. Where is she from? Yes, April is from Las Vegas. So there you go. So okay, I know you are busy. And do you have any more coaching call to be done tonight?
I do have one later tonight, yes, at 7 p.m.
Wow, that's
Hmm.
exciting. So what is
Hmm.
one lesson you can tell, or what would be your message for everybody, your viewers, our viewer, for those who are still thinking about, is this something that's real, or is this something to worth checking out for?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's an interesting question because, I think, well, not think, I know how worthwhile it is, right? I know how worthwhile it is
Mhm.
for you and for me, right? I always tell people and I say to people when they might not think it's real or they might not think it's something that everyone can do, for me, it's just a thing of saying, well, I don't think I would be here tonight, not wasting, but kind of dedicating myself to a 45-minute, interview with you if it wasn't legit, right? And not only that, we know that we're sent T4s from the government here in Canada to know that our business is real. And then you get 1099 there in America, right? To know that your business is legitimate and
Yes,
real as
yes.
well, right? But it comes to our business, right? So, we know how lucrative it is. We know how time freedom it is. We know how much financial freedom you can get from a business like this, right? So realistically, it's like, for me, it's like, what do you have to lose?
Yes.
Realistically, what do you have to lose? Let's say you're interested, you learn about, the business, you watch the webinar, you take the next steps and you're like, oh, this actually is not for me. Well, then you just say, okay, well, let's pack it up. Let's get out of here, right? This isn't for me. Realistically, what do you have to lose, right?
Yeah.
Nothing in my mind, right? So that's why I took the leap of faith as well. When I look back 6 years ago, right? When I began my journey, I'm like, well, what do I have to lose? Right? I'm only $75,000 into debt, right? I'm going to school again to better myself, to upgrade my nursing. What do I have to lose? Nothing.
Yes.
So realistically, what do we have to lose by just gathering more information? That's basically what you're doing when it comes to business, right? You're gathering information to see if it's for you. If it's not for you, that's okay. We move on, right? But
Correct.
if it
Correct.
is for you, it's that opportunity where it can change your life, right? So it's like, meh, right? So
Yes.
realistically, yeah. So it's just really about taking that leap of faith and knowing that, hey, yeah, this might be something that I can do. It sounds interesting. It sounds intriguing. But we know how many people's lives it's changed, not only
Mhm.
myself, but yourself. And so many other people out there have been walking away from their 9 to 5. They're spending more time with their family. They're traveling the world, right? They're helping build houses and give back in the Philippines, Africa,
I
you name
know.
it. It's people are changing and so many people are giving back to the community as well, which is another
Correct.
beautiful thing,
Yes.
right? So
Wow. Yeah. I know it is very interesting, very, very inspiring when you see in our global community a lot of people are, like what you said, giving back to their community. Some are building schools,
yeah.
some are building, maybe helping the church, something
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah,
it
they're
is
always
very,
giving back, right? So
yeah,
it's beautiful, right? So it's good to see that, but that's the
yeah.
type of people that we have in this business, right? About they're wanting to give back to others, right? So that's the kind of community that we have here.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, you're from Calgary. I really hope I can visit that place one day. Is that the one that's from, that's where you have Mount, how do you say that? Mount Banff?
Mountains,
Mount,
Banff,
yeah.
Banff,
Is
yeah,
that how you say it? Banff?
Banff, Banff, yeah, Banff,
Banff.
Banff, yeah,
Yeah. I really
exactly.
want to
So
see that place. It looks so majestic.
it is. It's beautiful. It's so
Is it
beautiful.
close to your place?
It is. So it's 45 minutes outside of Calgary. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's nice,
That's
especially it's
my
very
dream,
beautiful.
to
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah, you should. I mean, everyone should see this place in Canada before they pass. There are certain things that definitely stand out in Canada, and that's one of them, right? The mountains are beautiful, the waterfalls are beautiful, the sunset, how it sits over the lake is beautiful. Like
Yeah.
there's just so many things that are beautiful about Canada, right? There's a lot of places that I still want to visit in the States as well. But yeah, I love it
Nice.
here. It's great.
So the best season, I think every season is just beautiful there, right? Because
Yes.
I see like during winter time, summertime, any season is just like so wow.
Depends on, if you really like the cold or not, because it can get super cold right here. So, that's part of it as well. But I mean, it's not a huge deal when it comes to the cold. But, it's different than living in Texas. It's different than living in Vegas because, in Vegas, it's a desert. It's always warm, right? So there's some of those things that
Yeah.
I would love to, experience as well. I've been to Vegas, I've been to Texas, I've been to Utah, I've been to San Diego, San Francisco. There's been a lot of places that I've been to as well, but there's still a lot of places in America that I would love to travel to. But
Yeah.
again, it's something that I have a bucket list that I'm writing up right now that I'm getting ready to go and, go to because I can, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
that's the freedom, and that's the beauty of this business, is that now I've had this bucket list that I've had forever, but now I can start ticking off, right?
Wow. Congratulations once again, Dustin. You know what?
Thank you.
It's so inspiring, and I really like to see people, saying that, oh, I'm debt free, I'm boss free, things like that. And it's just so amazing.
Well, it's just inspiring to push you even further and to push you even harder, right? Because there's no reason why,
Yeah.
like, you yourself can achieve it, or the next person can achieve it, or 10 more people, 20 more people can achieve it, right? Like, everyone is getting there in this business. That's the next thing, right? So if it's like me, and then you hear like 2 days later somebody else, and then 2 days later somebody else, right? So it's
Yeah.
so
Exciting. Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, Dustin. And I'll see you more inside our community.
Of course.
And I
Sounds great.
actually love your presentation, the way you do your ads and stuff like that.
Oh,
So yeah.
thanks.
You do ads on YouTube also?
Facebook.
Just Facebook. Okay. I
Facebook
haven't
and
done
Instagram.
YouTube as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Something I'm gonna like get into like later, but I've kind of just stuck to 2 platforms now because I don't want to overwhelm myself. But that's the beauty of the business too. You get to choose where you want to go, and there's so many things out there, right? And there's more to come, right? So that's
Yeah.
the great thing as well.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh my God, why did I not know about this business before? But I think everything happens at the right time.
Everything happens for a reason. That is correct.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching us. Thank you for the support. And again, Dustin, I hope to see you in San Diego in June.
Yes, we will definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.